Kirkpatrick, yes. I get called all sorts of different things. I just rise to speak on this bill here, the Parliament's bill, and it's an honour to do so. I'd like to just first acknowledge all the people who have worked so hard on this over a great deal of years and acknowledge the work that's gone into it. You can see that there has been a huge amount of effort. I think it's important because it relates to our constitution, and we need to evolve and we need to change as society moves along. So some of the changes in here are worthwhile. Just to recap, of course, the Parliament bill is designed to bring together those 4 different pieces of legislation in the desire to give greater clarity to rules around MP expenses, to give consistency to the duties, functions and powers of the Speaker and the Deputy Speaker, and align provisions relating to appointments and conditions of the Clerk of the House and the Chief Executive of the Parliamentary Service. One of the areas of change relates to our approach to parliamentary security, and there would be no one here in this building who doesn't appreciate the efforts of our wonderful parliamentary security officers. They're here all hours of the day and the night, and they're looking after the MPs, the staff and the visitors. But the landscape has changed, as we know, and the way MPs in particular are now targeted is changed as well. I'm the co-chair with my colleague across the House, Bushla Tinidi Manuel, for the Commonwealth Women's Parliamentarians, and we have a particular focus on security. So some of these changes are extremely interesting for us, and we are pleased to see that they're in place because we have been discussing this very issue in our committee meetings. The changes set out in the bill give the security officers the powers of search, the powers to deny entry and ability to seize items as specified and temporarily detain people if necessary, similar to those used by court officers. And this also extends to them using those powers where select committees might be off-site around the country, and I have attended some of those in different parts of the country, which didn't need security officers, I should say, but if they do, and an electorate office in case of appropriate threats or things that might not be going well. So we would support that. Those were some of the things that we have talked about as well. In terms of members' funding and services, there's always scrutiny of these areas, and rightly so, but it is time some changes were made, and I in particular am pleased to see a couple of things happening in there, along with all the other changes, but I just like to point out, as members often have to be away from home in Wellington, and their dependent children under these changes would be able to travel with their parents as a key way to support members. So I think that is to be commended. The definition of a dependent also will be amended to include any child over the age of 18 who's still at secondary school, or anyone over the age of 18 for that family who is, due to a disability, dependent on the MP for their daily care or as a member of their family. So for me, Mr Speaker, it's about balance, about MPs needing to be able to use these tools to maintain balance between the relentless nature of the job, the need to be present in their families, and ensuring that public funding is used appropriately. So we on the side of the House are about efficiency and pragmatic solutions. I'm pleased that we have support across the House largely for this, and we recognise that while there are updates required, and the bill provides for those, this is a very welcome piece of legislation. So therefore, I commend the bill to the House. Thank you.
I call on Camilla Belch.
Thank you.
So Dana is the National Party MP for the West Coast. She basically
East Coast.
East Coast, sorry.
Yeah. Kerry was it Kerry Tupper Allen's old electorate?
Yeah, so she beat Tamati Coffee at the last election. She used to be a reporter for the Gisborne Herald.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah, no, that's good. You'd say we'll just get to the voting part.
Yeah, let's get to the voting part.
Mm-hmm.
Let's get to the voting part because we want to see if it's all ayes.
Mr Speaker, I commend this bill to the House.
The question is that the motion be agreed to. Those of that opinion will say aye. The contrary, no. The ayes have it.
Parliament Bill, first reading.
Parliament Bill stands referred to the...
That was fast.
I didn't hear any no's.
So, to Party Māori, even that they were a bit sketchy in their speech, they have obviously voted in favour. So that was 123 ayes, 0 no's. The motion carried.
Yeah, I mean, the Party Māori made it really clear what their concerns were and why they wanted to discuss it. I think that's really important to note as well. And that's part of the reason why our parliamentary process is set up the way it is, so that if you've got concerns, you can work through it and come up with hopefully something at the end that's going to be better for everyone. This one looks like a bill that might actually do that because it's got bipartisan support at the moment, because it is there for everybody in Parliament to have, much more defined lines, much better understanding of what's going on, and sort of bring everything in together. They'll all work together to try and get the best bill possible. There may be, because of who's in Parliament, who's in government at the moment, a little bit of pushback on some of those more traditional Māori understandings of family than there are through a more Eurocentric understanding. But that's one of those things that we're not going to know until they start working through the bill.
Yeah, I need more information for a comment.
Might have to have an It's in the Ballot special on the select committee process.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, I gather our viewers here are about to find a whole heap of things that the media has just not actually done any reporting on this bill. Probably because it's not controversial enough.
I mean, it's a constitutional bill. Why wouldn't they report on it? It's pretty important.
I mean, yeah, it hasn't hit Q&A. I think Q&A will probably end up doing it. It's just not, like this week it hasn't happened. But I do think Q&A, if there's any show that's going to cover it, it will be Q&A.
Yep.
I can't see it. And I'll sit there and say they'll do it on a dud weekend. You know, that sort of thing. It's a dud weekend or like an end of year show or something that, like an episode filler.
Well, when National proposes something, the news better cover it with urgency.
Yes, and I wonder how many Zulu, Kilo, Papa India ghosts are requested to land at Wellington Airport.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so